Hello everyone and welcome to round 2 of the Spotlight Series Marvel Superheroes here in Belgium, Brussels. Martin, excited. You told me so many times how excited are you. Now it's your time to tell it to the viewers.
Yeah, I'm generally super excited. I love the fact that team events are coming back. We just had a big event in Vegas as well. It's the Magic Spotlight Marvel Superheroes. This limited format is generally plays out really nicely. I like the fact that we are getting the 10 supported archetypes back again. There's a lot of mana fixing. You can draft multicolored decks. The gameplay is interesting. There's a lot of fun stuff to do. You can even assemble all the Fantastic Four for an infinite combo. So this set really has it all, and for me, it's been super enjoyable to draft this format.
All right, the players are sitting down. They already actually started playing. Look at that. We have the 2023 World Champion, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, championing a whole French team, where on the other side, the the leader is Marijn Lybaert with 4 Pro Tour Top 8 finishes, and his teammates are no slouch. It is Zach Hill and Grgur Maretic from Croatia. So it's an international team versus a French team.
Yeah, and both, I think, Jean-Emmanuel is one of the players eligible to be voted into the Hall of Fame this year. Marijn has 4 Pro Tour Top 8s, but I don't think he has a recent top finish. That said, looks like we are on the way. There's an aerial Doombot on the side of Jean-Emmanuel, who's also, fixing his mana base. Looks like he seems to be splashing red. I actually took a quick peek through his deck, and one of the cards he's splashing is Vision Quest. So he's going to be possibly looking at winning the game with that. Marijn, so far, blue-green. He has the White Tiger. It's a 2-mana 2/2. It has Power Up 6, where you get to put a counter on it and create a 4/4 token that can only be blocked by 1 creature. Marijn also has the Deployment Drone, which came with the 1/1 Soldier token, and there is the Wakandan Drone Flock. The best thing about white in this format is that it's super deep. Wakandan Drone Flock is probably the 10th best white card, and that just happens to be better than maybe the 3rd best red card. So white, the deepest color in this format. White and blue also have notably more mythics and rares than the other colors. So it pays off to be white or blue in this format because you can open more bombs during the draft.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Wakanda Drone Flock, not a card I imagined, to be that high level to make the cut in these, 12 booster packs sealed. But I guess Jean-Emmanuel Depraz really values the flying and the scry effect.
Flying is really, really strong in this format. Plus, scry 2, smooths out your draws, looks for your bombs. So it's not a card that you're terribly excited to play, but it's a solid filler. That always does a solid job in this format. Marijn enchanted it with Frozen in Ice to be able to start getting in there with his army of 2/2s and a soldier token.
And here we see the first agent of the round. It is the Agent Shield, which comes in. John Walker comes in with this very powerful equipment. I don't think we've ever had, or maybe that I remember, equipment token. But that equipment is so convenient, so nice to win this battle, especially against the green deck, where you need larger creature to come up with good blocks.
This is one of the best uncommons in the format. Super flexible card. The fact that you can cast it for white or black mana. And I think this card has it in the name. It's called the Unbeatable. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, and it is actually quite unbeatable if you don't manage to take it off the battlefield.
And this is a super pretty version by Marijn. That's like a really nice card, and especially nice with Go Nuts. This turn is fantastic.
Go Nuts is incredibly good in the green decks. They tend to be a little bit slower. You're playing a lot of 4-drops, 5-drops, more expensive creatures. So the fact that you have a 1-mana card that allows you to double spell in 1 turn and sort of catch back up on tempo or get ahead on tempo by playing a big creature and getting rid of one of theirs. That's kind of how the green decks get ahead in this format. Yeah, the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, it is in fact unbeatable if you don't have a way to deal with it very quickly.
Yeah, Jean-Emmanuel does have a Frozen in Ice in hand, which would not only tap it down, but also shut off its activated ability.
And one of the best things about green in this format is that green has a lot of answers to artifacts and enchantments. So you have the Gorilla, the 2-mana 2/2 that you can sacrifice it to destroy a non-creature artifact or enchantment. And there's also She-Hulk, which is a 4-mana 4/4 that has a power-up ability that also sort of does a naturalize effect. And I've taken a quick look through Marine's deck. I believe he has a copy of both. So those are certainly going to be cards that he's going to be looking for to free up that Squirrel Girl from
Yeah.
ice there.
Yeah, that means that green has a better matchup against those blue-white decks rather than something like a black removal stuff. He just drew a disenchant.
He just drew the gorilla. Yeah, so that's actually perfect for Marijn. He just drew the perfect answer to get rid of the frozen in ice, and that's how he's going to be probably looking to close this game again.
Yeah, and if he has a sixth land, he can Gorilla the Frozen in Ice and then activate ability on the Squirrel Girl, which will put into play several squirrels.
Yep.
So Jean-Emmanuel definitely behind here, but again, that shield token makes the aerial Doombot a 2/3, which is very large on this board state. So that shield token is super good in this format.
Yeah, and you might be looking at this thinking, hey, that's a 1-mana 1/1 flyer. Like, are those really good? I've been told in limited you have to play, the high value cards. In this format, all the power up creatures, perhaps maybe with just the exception of the red 3-mana 3/2 that a lot of the time trades down on mana against 2-drops. Those creatures are really powerful, and power up gives you something to do later in the game when you're flooding out, when you have perhaps a few too many lands, and it does still give you something to do in the late game and sort of try to get an advantage that way with a bigger creature. So I really like how those creatures came out, and most of them are super valuable cards in this format. There's the Gorilla, takes care of the Frozen in Ice, so the Squirrel Girl is back online. And as you said, Marijn also does have the land there, so 3 green sources. He's going to be able to activate it at the end of Jean-Emmanuel's turn. And yeah, it just passes the turn, comfortably sitting, behind an unbeatable card, and now it's back on Jean-Emmanuel to find an answer.
Yeah, notably these effects are either like sorcery speed only or you have to tap your creatures, but it's not the case for the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. You can just do that anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
On your opponent turn and everything. And this card is actually very popular in other formats as well. I've played a commander match recently where this was the commander of one of my opponents. So it was definitely a card that is just taking over the game, especially with a different treatment. The Forge now, that is the quote-unquote 6-mana draw 3 effect.
I love this card in this format. This format, so the way I see it is whoever floods out first usually loses the game. So the more stuff you have to do something with your mana, to draw more cards, to have power-up abilities, to dig deeper into your deck with Futurist Forge or Scry effects, the more likely you are to find more gas and find more, more of your bombs and be able to win the game that way. Something I also want to mention in this situation is white and blue, they're not particularly great at dealing with a creature that does not attack. White has a lot of cards like Helicarrier Strike, it has a Supervillain Lockup, it has a Red Guardian, so if there is a creature that's attacking you, there's a lot of cards you can have to deal with it. There's also Frozen in Ice, you also have Web Up, some of these ways that the enchantments that deal with it. But if Marijn is comfortably sitting on the Squirrel Girl just making tokens every turn, it's going to be incredibly hard for Jean-Emmanuel to be able to get out of that position.
Yeah, a card that would be nice here would be Marduk's Crusade, but I saw the deck list and Jean-Emmanuel doesn't have that card. They didn't open in 12 boosters.
Wow.
So very unlikely because, of course, in 12 boosters you're supposed to open some commons, and that's one of the best one, if not the best, white common.
Marijn here recognizes that, Jean-Emmanuel doesn't really have a lot of stuff going on and is going to be attacking with everything. Jean-Emmanuel at 10 life, certainly not a great situation. I think there's 3 squirrels at the top of the screen.
Yeah, there's a counter with 3 on it. Okay.
Wow. Marijn has to be really happy about that.
Ooh. The
Red Guardian.
No, I just saw
the super
Spider Woman. But that one does not remove the abilities.
That's true. It just gets that. Yep.
The Squirrel Girl doesn't care. We'll keep on making squirrels. So Marijn also very dangerous to draw that 6th forest, which would unlock activating the Squirrel Girl twice in a turn.
Something that's also important to know in this format, there's not a lot of sweepers. There's basically no sweepers in the main set. There's a lot of cards, the special cards you can open in the booster packs. There's a Massacre Girl, there is Extinction Event.
Final Showdown.
But blue, white, and red, not very good at dealing with a big board. So Marijn picks up game number 1. Yeah, Squirrel Girl, good curve.
Unbeatable.
Unbeatable, yeah, there it is.
Unbeatable. Now, of course, while as you shuffle, you look at your opponents, you just want to know what's up. Maybe it's a time to get asked a question. And again, this is a team event, so it's very important to just be aware of what your teammates are doing. It's a nice opportunity to just ask them, hey, what do you think I should do here? Although, these team events, it's very important to ask the right questions. Because if you ask your teammates what I should do here, and this is like turn 10 with like 20 permanents on the battlefield, the help of your teammates might just be worse than you, who have been playing the game for the whole game and have more information about how is it going and everything. So it's always yeah, it's never easy for a teammate to just out of the blue just follow your game and give you an important suggestion. So it's important to also know the which right questions to ask.
By the way, there's an interesting dynamic in this format where I was asking a lot of the top teams if they gave any thought to who's sitting in which seat. If the best player usually plays in the middle, so they can give advice to the players around them, or if they put the fastest player in the middle, so they have the highest chance of finishing the game as fast as possible, and then they have more time to also give feedback to the players around them, or if they're taking that into account when dividing the decks. Like, hey, who's going to play the Boros deck? Should it be the person in the middle? Should it be should it be a different person? What do we expect our opponent's captain to be playing? Is that the most likely person to be playing some kind of control deck, maybe a blue deck? And one of the teams actually did talk to me about the fact that they expected the middle player to be playing blue a lot of the time. Blue pairs up really well with white. A lot of the time you're going to build a blue-white deck. And they thought that the green decks, they have a decent matchup against blue-white or blue decks in general or white decks in general because they have the naturalized effects. If you ever play web up to try to deal with Squirrel Girl, your opponent untaps and they slam the She-Hulk, activate the power-up ability, destroy the web up, and get back the rare like a Squirrel Girl, you're basically just in a losing position. So I think that's actually something that's really interesting, and I really like that train of thought and the line of thinking that we're trying our best to try to position our green deck to play against blue and or white, although a lot of the times it's going to be random. But
yeah, you're actually describing what just happened in the final of the Pro Tour with Yuki Ichikawa playing a green-red deck with several disenchant. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lorenzo Gruppi was playing these like white-based removal spell decks. And throughout the match, very often this interaction you just mentioned happened, and Yuki Ichikawa managed to win 3-0 the final of the Pro Tour, becoming the Pro Tour champion just last week. If you love Limited, if you're watching this coverage, I recommend you to also check out that event, because I can't remember last time we've had a draft top 8 of an extremely important event such as the Pro Tour. So this is something, if you really like Limited, definitely like this is the year for you. We just had a Pro Tour top 8. We just have now Limited Spotlight Series back, and next year we'll also have the first ever in so long Pro Tour full draft.
Yeah, the Limited Championship. I think it's in the middle of the season next year. I think they said it was Minneapolis.
Minneapolis, yes.
Yeah, really looking forward to.
Martin, you're an old school player. Have you ever played a full draft Pro Tour?
I have. I actually have. It was.
Wow.
I think it was PT Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur, yes. And where John Finkel won against Mario Pascoli.
I went 7-0 on day one, and I finished 10th or 11th. Just missing out on the top 8 by losing one of the matches. It was one of my first Pro Tours, and I really enjoyed preparing for that one because we were sitting by the pool all day, every day, cracking booster packs, drinking cold beverages, and just drafting and playing and playing. And I think it was Lorwyn, which was also one of the all-time best formats.
Lorwyn, indeed. Yeah, you say cold beverage, so we're assuming like Cokes and
exactly.
Sprite with ice.
Exactly.
Yes. Anyway, we are now watching game number 2. Our 2023 world champion, the formidable speaker himself, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz on the left side. On the right side, we have the local player, one of the Brussels players, Marijn Lybaert, who's championing his country up a game. Of course, my fondest memory of Marijn is the Pro Tour. Maybe actually, Martin, you also shared that Pro Tour with him, right? The Pro Tour Top 8, Berlin.
Yeah, no, he didn't top 8 Berlin.
Oh no,
it was. I think it was Jan Doaz that top 8 Berlin.
Okay,
it was a bunch of else players. I think Marijn top 8. The last one he top 8, I think, is the one that Paul Rietzel won with White Gates. Yeah, I think he was on top 8 with. I think it was Merfolk. Yeah, Marijn has 4 Pro Tour top 8s. The old Pro Tours the hard way. He hasn't played it.
Now it's the easy way.
No,
I'm joking.
He hasn't played in quite a while. Has a big family now. Has lots of work, so hasn't had a chance to really add another big finish. But I'm sure with the Hall of Fame coming back, he's probably going to be thinking about that, and perhaps that could have played a decision. That could have played a role in the decision to come to this event.
Yeah, and like this event has more Pro Tour invites than normal, because normally Spotlight Series have 8 invites. This one has 12 because the whole top 4 gets qualified, and that's going to happen tomorrow. So It's going to be such long event tomorrow. We are going to be staying here until a very long time.
Speaking of the Hall of Fame, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz has quietly put up a really, really impressive resume. Not only is he a world champion, he also finished second in one of the years. I think he has 7 or 8 top finishes, and he's certainly going to be on a short list of some of the most deserving players to possibly get in this year.
I have a lot of good memories alongside Jean-Emmanuel Depraz because he won the World Magic Cup in 2018, defeating us, with France, of course, defeating us in top 4. And then he top-8 the Pro Tour right after rivals of Ixalan alongside me. So we were together in both these events. And then, you know, we went on to make the MPL together and a lot of good results. And then he went on and win the Worlds 2023 with Esper Legends. Becoming the formidable speaker. The players are ready. They are just waiting for somebody to tell them to go. It can be us. We can tell them to go.
Looks like Marijn took a mulligan. I can't quite see what they have, but yeah, this looks. Marijn just has a pretty typical blue-green deck. I see a Pet Avengers. There's a Go Nuts as well. So a fight spell. I think there's another cheaper card. Could be Ant-Man's Army, which is a card that I quite like if you're splashing 3 mana 3/2. Not the best stats, but it comes with a treasure or sometimes a food token if you have something
so good,
that triggers while you're gaining life. Futurist Fort, that's a card I really like. That smooths out your draws. It's something to do in the late game. Make sure your hand is well stocked up. And what does Jean-Emmanuel have? Turn 2, yeah, Bolt Scientist. Or Bolt Biochemist. Another one of those really good card advantage cards.
Yeah, and I appreciate a lot the views that we have on Fanfinity coverage, which is like left to right instead of top to bottom, because I think you see the hands of the players. I've been watching the Pro Tour top 8, and you can't really quite glimpse the hand, and I think this is really, really good for the viewers.
Shield Deployment Drone, one of the best blue commons, 3 mana 2/2 flyer. That's by itself not super impressive. Wind Drakes are not really what they once used to be, but it comes down with a token, so you can keep applying pressure in the air while the token can be on chump block duty, or perhaps you have something else going on, like a Political Triumph, for example, which is a card that's really, really good if your deck can go wide. There's the Ant-Man's Army.
Yeah, very important card, deploying the treasure, which most of the time is used to splash a third color, because we're playing a team event, so a lot of gold cards get opened, and of course, you can't play 10 colors. So, oh wow.
Yeah, Marijn uses that to go for a big tempo play, so he just uses the treasure to instantly cast a Go Nuts. He taps the Ant-Man's Army, so it becomes a 4/3 because he puts a counter on it, and that fights off the Shield Deployment Drone. That's a very aggressive use of a removal spell in this format. You don't have that many, so that would tell me, if I'm Jean-Emmanuel, that perhaps Marijn's hand is a little bit slow, or maybe he has more removal spells in his hand if he's willing to just fight off a 2/2 flyer right away. But it was a very good tempo play.
Definitely. 1 mana removal spell is not common in Limited. Well, in this case, it is a common, but it's not that common. All right, Jean-Emmanuel declines the trade there. Interesting.
Bat Avengers, that's one of the best green commons as well, and it's because flying is so good in this format. It's basically premium flying and card advantage, premium in this format, and for that reason, creatures with reach also really high value cards in this format. Pet Avengers, really solid common, 4 mana 4/4 with reach. Power ability makes it a 5/5 and creates an extra 3/2 token with vigilance.
Yeah, so Jean-Emmanuel has some options here. I'm thinking about Frozen in Ice, that Pet Avenger, tap land attack with all. And this is really what shows like a very, high-level player, because that play to me looked pretty obvious. But like Jean-Emmanuel took the time and carefully thought about how to sequence this turn, and he does come up with that play. So it's very important to, identify what's the easiest line, but then think about what are the other options. And I think we're going to see that a lot in this event.
Yeah, and it looks like both players are just trying to go for as many tempo plays as possible. So Jean-Emmanuel slapping that Frozen in Ice to deal with the Pet Avengers, which, because of reach, would have been able to just be a really solid blocker. He's going to be able to keep applying pressure, and Patriot Shield Wielder in combination with the Wakandan Drone Flock. That's threatening 5 damage in the air every turn, so looks like Marijn's on a 3-turn clock.
Yeah, so going to be very important. You have to look at those numbers at the corners. And also, Jean-Emmanuel has another flyer.
Wow, okay, that's the Falcon 5 mana 3/4 flyer. It comes down and makes a 1/1 flyer that it's a token. When it attacks, you get to surveil 1. So 2 creatures for the price of 1, 2 more flyers. The Falcon Winged Wonder, there you have it on the screen.
Wait, so that's actually lethal, right? We've got enough damage to kill Marijn next turn if there's nothing.
Yeah, he's at 9. Next turn, you attack for 6 in the air with the 2 creatures, 1 extra with the token, that's 7, and you can activate the Shield Wielder to add 2 more. So that'd be 9, yeah.
Let's see if Marijn is able to, but I look at the hand, there's no way. Yeah. Well, you have the Forge, so maybe you can crack the Forge to draw 2 cards and find something, but looks like maybe Jean-Emmanuel Depraz will play defensively to play around something, so he won't go for the lethal line.
Exactly, that's the thing. Is Marijn going to be trying to bluff something? Obviously, just playing the White Tiger on the battlefield and using 4 more mana to activate the power-up ability to make a 4/4, that just leaves you dead on board. So clearly, that's not a play Marijn can make. So what he can do is either crack the 4 to try to draw 2 cards and try to find something. He can play the White Tiger, leave 4 mana open, and hope that Jean-Emmanuel doesn't go for the kill. But that said, there's not that many blue instant speed. There's no card like Unsummon. So if Marijn has something, it would be a Frozen in Ice or it would be a green fight spell, but he's unlikely to have something at instant speed that deals with this play. Maybe the giant-sized Flying Ant. That's a card he certainly could have.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Wakandan Royal Guard made the cut. It's another card that looks pretty fillerish to me, that 5 mana 4/4 Vigilance that's in play.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a lot of heroes, it's more of a green-white card where the hero synergies matter a little bit more. But yeah, if you have a lot of Ant-Man's armies, so that it comes down on turn 4, it's a filler. It's certainly not a card you're thrilled to have in your deck.
Okay, so here Jean-Emmanuel is giving up that 2/2 looks like, so he won't be able to have lethal next turn.
Interesting.
It does kind of make sense. I don't know. Do you play around your opponent having stone nothing? Oh, maybe it does actually.
Yeah, I mean, Jean-Emmanuel is under a lot of pressure too, right? There's 2 4-power creatures attacking him down every turn, so he's down to 8. Oh yeah, right. He has an extra counter from the from the fight spell earlier.
Okay, so Jean-Emmanuel chooses to chump block, and he might just go for it next turn. Very exciting moments.
Yeah. And now I can guarantee what's going through Marien's head is exactly this. Am I supposed to be bluffing? Am I supposed to be drawing first? Is he going to go for it? Is he going to, try to give me credit for a spell? But what can I really have, right? This is where the knowledge of the format comes into play. And there really aren't that many cards you can have at instant speed if you're blue that would work as something like Bounce a Creature, or, if you have the giant-sized Flying Ant, you can let your opponent attack first, then try to block, buy yourself an extra turn, but can't quite come up with too many other cards that you can have at instant speed. Maybe the punching fight spell. Wow, he's going to go for the draw spell, for the draw effect. Wow, Justice, he's 1 mana short. That's a 3 mana 2/2 flyer that when it comes down, it bounces any permanent to their owner's hand. So that'd be a perfect card to have.
So Martin, here, what would you have done here? Would have just play land and pass the turn without, thinking so long, maybe giving up that you actually are installed nothing?
It depends on my deck. Like, if I have 2 more Go Nuts in my deck, I'm going to draw the cards. If I don't have anything to draw into, I'm just going to be bluffing. I'm just going to play the White Tiger and pass with 4 mana up and just hope that my opponent just does not go for the kill.
Yeah, this is something that I always tell to people whenever they play Limited. Learn your deck by heart before round 1 begins. Because what happens is by round 8, you know your deck. But by round 2, by round 1, you don't know your deck. So it's very important that you actually know what are your outs in situations like this.
Play to your outs. That's basically what it comes down to. And yeah, Jean-Emmanuel goes for the kill. Marijn just shrugs, yep, I don't have anything. You got me. Let's move on to game number 3.
Very good game. This was actually a typical Limited game, Flyers versus ground creatures, where the Flyers deck is usually underpowered, but is able to steal the race by just chump blocking in the last turn and then killing the opponent. This is a very typical Limited match. And, Magic has been a game for 33 years now, but some things just never change. And if you're an expert player like these two, again, sets come out, new mechanic come out and everything, but the basis of the game remain the same. So it's beautiful to see, that these remains. But now look at that stack of a sideboard. Martin, tell me and the viewers, how does sideboarding work in a team event?
So yeah, first of all, the way it works is when you're building the decks, when you open the 12 packs, you divide the cards to build the decks from. Then you also divide the rest of the cards you're not using. So the whatever is not in the main deck, whatever, the giant pile of cards you're going to have after you build the 3 main decks, is your sideboard, and you have to divide it between the 3 players. So obviously, if you have only one green player, that player is going to get all the green cards, and then you have to kind of divide the rest based on what your decks might be looking for after sideboard. Sometimes you're going to be looking at more counter magic, effects like Mind Drought, which if you play against a control deck, you're in the draw, you want to bring in extra copies of discard a couple cards to really punish your opponent for having one less card. You might be looking for disenchant effects, naturalize, more gorillas, more She-Hulks, things like that. And something I want to mention is sideboarding in Limited is extremely important. You should, after every game, something you should do during every game is write down all the cards that your opponent's playing. Obviously, if you're playing in FNM, it's kind of, casual format, it's fun. Maybe you're not going to go super hard on that. But if you're playing the PT or you're playing a Spotlight event, write down the cards your opponent's playing. And when you're sideboarding, look at that, and maybe you're going to notice that, hey, maybe my opponent has a lot of 2/2s. Maybe I want to bring in an 0/3 creature. Maybe I want to bring in a 2/3 blocker. Creature sizing, the stats really matter. So you're going to be usually able to find something interesting in the sideboard that you can bring in.
Yeah, I'm looking at the deck list of Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, and he has a combo. He has actually a 2-card combo in his deck that Frank Karsten will feature in one of his, eBay Live sponsor. And it is the Mighty Thor Jane Foster combined with Mjolnir Hammer of Thor. And this is a crazy combo that, you have to use 3 colors, so the just get color combination, but you are able to attack with the Mighty Thor and effectively blink the Hammer of Thor, dealing 4 extra damage to target creature. And you can do that repeatedly every single turn, and this is kind of a lock.
And you also
decks.
draw a card every turn the equipment comes into play, I think. So
yeah.
The Mighty Thor is just an incredible card. That card is it's one of the best cards in the entire format. Even if you only have a Shield Spike It, that's already a pretty impressive combo. But to have both of them, yeah, that's I'm sure Jean-Emmanuel is really stoked about that. And that's the reason why he's splashing red.
Yeah, we haven't seen the combo yet going on. He's also splashing red for another very strong card that is Vision Quest, which we believe we have seen in Game 1, but it wasn't casted. This is a very cool, and Vision Quest, I believe, can tutor up the hammer. So he actually has a Build Your Own Stoneforge Mystic at home. Very cool deck. I'm sure, again, with 12 boosters, you can get creative and do some of these combinations similarly to Block Construct and stuff.
Plus, there's a lot of mana fixing in this format. In 12 packs, you're going to open a lot of the common tapped dual lands that gain a life and produce 2 colors. There's also the rare cycle of dual lands. There is also cards like Baxter Building, Avengers Tower. You have the villain land as well. Plus, you have all the land cyclers. I really like that the land cyclers in this format are able to find a land of any color, not just the color of the card. And for me, that adds a lot more fun to the format, and the fact that you can draft or build all these multicolored decks is just really cool.
Although 2 mana for the Land Cycler, I think, is a lot, and sometimes, I feel like they're a little bit overplayed, in my opinion, the Land Cycler. But we see here the players come off the gate very well, both players with a strong 2-drop, Gorilla versus the Raft Security Officer, which, does this mean that...
Wow. Ooh. Nice tempo play by Marijn.
Yeah. Justice, actually one of the best card in blue, despite being an uncommon. It's a lot better than most of the rares. This is a mono war with flying. Very crazy good. Yeah,
the fact that you get a tempo advantage and you get yourself a 2/2 flyer. In some situations, you can also even bounce your own permanent. Imagine if Jean-Emmanuel plays the Mjolnir, that at some point he might want to bounce it back to his hand, replay it, kill another creature. There's the Mighty Thor. One of the best rares in the format, so now both of the players with one of the strongest cards in their decks, but the Mighty Thor stats are getting a bit ahead in the exchange.
Yeah, now Marijn is thinking a lot about this combat phase, so we are just assuming that he doesn't have something like Super Suit or, an easy combat trick to get through this combat phase. And you, Martin, a world-class limited player, how do you approach this situation? Your opponent just played one of the best cards in the game. You have a couple of 2/2s that really don't have that much text. Do you just jump attack into a 3/3, hope for the best?
So, If I'm Marijn, I'm thinking, man, I haven't played Magic in quite a while. Like, do I just send it here? Like, what are the what are the combat tricks in this format? Giant Growth, okay, Supersuit. If I'm Jean-Emmanuel and you do this against me, I'm gonna be thinking, there's no way Giant Growth made it into your build when you're building out of 12 booster packs in this high-powered format. Same thing with Supersuit. The card is okay, you can play it, it's not great, but I would really not expect you to have those cards. So if you send this against me, I'm very likely blocking, because I would just be calling you out on the bluff and saying, hey, I just don't believe you have these cards in your deck.
Yep.
But yeah, Marijn decided against it, just played the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which is, also a pretty powerful play.
Yeah, we have seen that card winning game 1. Let's see if it's going to take over game 3 as well. Jean-Emmanuel has a full grip, but does not have an answer to the Squirrel Girl. So, but he does have this little... Is this a combo? Attacking him.
I think you can only target a non-token permanent.
Yeah.
But you draw a card. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what you mean. Right. Yeah, it comes the equipment token comes into play. That triggers the Mighty Tor. You draw a card, and now Jean-Emmanuel is going to be attacking. Flicker is the U.S. agent.
Does it put it right back into play, getting a second copy of the shield token, and okay, look at that.
Yeah, I think Jean-Emmanuel is going to be pretty happy killing the Gorilla here, because it's really good against his deck. Oh no, he goes for the Justice. Wow, that's interesting. I did not expect that. He did show us a lot of enchantments in the first game. He showed us the Web Up. He showed us a Frozen in Ice.
Yeah.
So that's surprising to me that he kills the flyer here, but he also doesn't really want to be under more flying pressure, I guess. Yeah, Marijn does have a pretty fast draw here, using the tempo advantage from Justice to really pressure Jean-Emmanuel here, and now he can just sit on the Squirrel Girl, just making more tokens at the end of turn if he so chooses.
There's a huge difference in cards in it. Marijn only has 3 cards, and Jean-Emmanuel taps and has 8 cards in his hand. So right now it's very much a game where Marijn just needs to kill Jean-Emmanuel before he can deploy all these cards of his hand. So this is a tempo game, basically, where we need to constrain the cards in the hand of Jean-Emmanuel, hoping that he can't deploy all of them. And this is a game where the shield tokens are not good, because you don't have the time to move that equipment around.
Exactly. You're on the draw, and one of your creatures already got bounced by Justice, and you haven't even had a chance to replay it. That's how far behind you are on the battlefield. Yeah, Jean-Emmanuel did have a great turn drawing extra cards with the Mighty Thor, but he is certainly behind on board now.
And he's still in need to find an answer. And that Gorilla stays there telling, your Frozen in Ice does not work. You have to dig for another removal spell, which I'm looking at the deck list right here in front of me. There's not that many. Again, we don't have Murdoch's Crusade, and Web Up and Frozen Ice are not working. So I'm wondering if we should have killed the Gorilla last turn.
One thing I do want to say is you mentioned that Jean-Emmanuel has the Mjolnir in his deck. I think you can use that card as a Pyroclasm. So if there is a lot of squirrels, you can potentially draw to a card that's going to deal with the small creatures, and then if you find a removal spell for the Squirrel Girl, you can get out of this situation. But if you give Marijn, 1, 2, 3 more turns, then he's just going to flood the board with tokens. And considering that he's at 20 life, it's going to be very, very hard to be able to raise that.
Yeah, because what's happening is that Marijn just paid 4 mana and made 2 Squirrel. But now if he pays 4 mana, he's going to get 4 Squirrel. And then, the power of 2 continues. And then once we reach 8 mana, 6 of them being green, we can activate the Squirrel Girl twice.
There is a really interesting corner case that can come up in this game. Marijn has the 3 mana, 3/2 Reach and Vigilance Spider-Man that when it comes into play, you can tap it to give a non-attacking creature indestructible. So let's say he attacks with the Squirrel Girl, and you're Jean-Emmanuel, and you have the Red Guardian, which says it destroys a creature that dealt damage this turn. If you take the damage from the Squirrel Girl and wait for the end of turn to deploy the Red Guardian and destroy it, Marian's going to be able to use the Spider-Man to save it. But if you do that in combat, after taking damage, while you're still in the combat step, I think it's the end of combat step, you use the Red Guardian to destroy the Squirrel Girl, it's still attacking, and your opponent cannot save it with the Spider-Man. So these little tricks, I'm sure, is something that players of Jean-Emmanuel caliber can use to sometimes get out of an awkward situation. where it seems like Marijn has that covered, but there is a little window where that would be something that Jean-Emmanuel could use. But I think in this situation, we're very unlikely to have Marijn attack with the Squirrel Girl anymore for the rest of the game. He's going to be enjoying the token advantages and just flood the board with tokens and eventually beat Jean-Emmanuel that way.
Yeah, also because, as you mentioned before, the Hell's Carrier removal spell that deals 4 damage would deal with the Squirrel Girl, so you just don't really want to threaten that. But Jean-Emmanuel decides that he has to attack. That's the only way he can win the game, is if he just takes over the game with flyers. And also John Walker gets in. That's a 4/4. Marijn can block with one of his squirrels, but obviously that means that he's going to have less squirrel the next turn, but he can just block and then pay 4, make 4 more squirrel, and so on. And can Jean-Emmanuel defeat such unbeatable card?
It says in the name.
It's not even a mythic rare, it's a rare, you know? Shouldn't be that unbeatable. All right, looks like we are casting a spell. Well, look at the difference between the two cards in end, the two players' cards in end. One has 3, the other one has, well, now of course we are playing some cards. I see that Marijn has a 3rd island, which unfortunately is not good enough because we need 6 green to activate that thing twice.
Does each color have a triple mana pip? In black has Super Skrull.
Maybe.
That's the triple black and 1. Green has the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. That's the triple green. But I can't quite think of a red, white,
well,
or
the blue one that makes an extra turn has the power up ability with 3 blue.
Okay.
But I don't know if that counts.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're attacking here. Well, Jean-Emmanuel is already in 11.
Yeah.
We're basically just champ attacking with 2 of these tokens.
Oh, wow, hey, that's a giant-sized flying ant. So it's a 4-mana 3/2 flash flyer. When it comes into play, or when it comes to the battlefield, you can either tap or untap a permanent or a creature. So Jean-Emmanuel was waiting for this moment. He's going to use the ability to untap his agent. And that gives him, what, 5 blockers now?
Yeah, the giant-sized flying ant was an answer to the potential Squirrel Girl. He could have tapped it and then uses the Super Vinley lockup. But
Okay.
Jean-Emmanuel did not draw the Super Vinley lockup, so there's no way he can do that. All right. It's a lot of tokens into play. We just see a dice with written 8. What was that?
Whoa! I think that's one of the answers.
Vision
That's the Vision Quest, and Vision Quest says X, blue, and red. Look through your deck or graveyard for an artifact. Wait, that's an artifact creature. You can't get the Mjolnir.
Oh.
It has to be an artifact creature. Oh, I thought you could fetch the Mjolnir here.
Me too.
Kill the Squirrel Girl. Wow, that would have been such a good play. But no, it's not going to work. You can only find a creature. Yeah, I guess we're going to see if there is any creature in Jean-Emmanuel's deck that would be able to get him out of this really tough situation. Keep in mind, Marijn's also at 14, so this can threaten lethal potentially.
I only see in the main deck, at least, the Aerial Doombot. I don't know if you cited in some more artifacts. Let's see what Jean-Emmanuel does.
Okay, the deployment drone is already on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Well, keeping 1 white mana, that's a
Tap.
little bit of a...
To tap with the officer.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, those squirrels are very big now. Let's see. The creatures have haste, so Jean-Emmanuel can just raise the opponent.
Yeah, access 4 exactly, so that the creature would gain haste.
Yeah, I also expected the... Oh, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, the Wakanda
drone flock.
Yeah.
That's why he plays it over something
exactly,
like White Widow Free Agent, which, you know, I thought was a better card. And I was looking at the list, I was like, oh wow, playing the Wakanda over the Widow. But yeah, it does make sense in this case.
Wow, is Marijn potentially looking at losing this game despite having 7 tokens last turn and being able to activate the Squirrel Girl? The giant-sized flying ad was a pretty big surprise that allowed Jean-Emmanuel to only take 2. And now, how much power does he have in the air? He has 7 on the drone flock, 2 on the deployment drone, that's 9. 3 more is the flying ad, that's 12. So he's 1 mana off.
Well,
lethal, and there's the gorilla as well.
Yeah.
That is reach.
Well, he can definitely win the game next turn.
Okay.
But he has to survive for 1 turn. Let's see if he's able to do that.
How many blockers do you have to keep back up? You have 8, that's 10 squirrels. So that's 12 creatures. You have to have 4 blockers.
Very interesting game. Of course, this is game 3, and there's plenty of time on the timer. The game is going to end in 2 turns, so the players will do math accordingly. Of course, Marijn has some interaction. Yeah, right? He has the Spider-Man, which...
Yeah, that's another reach creature.
That's another reach creature. So maybe Marijn is able to survive next turn.
You could block with the Gorilla, play the Spider-Man, tap it, use it to give the Gorilla indestructible because it's not an attacking creature. That way it can soak up the damage from the drone flock.
Yeah, the Patriot Shield Wielder can pump something that is unblocked next turn, so that's 2 extra damage coming up nowhere. So Jean-Emmanuel decide to only attack with that 7/7.
Yeah, and I think Marijn has it covered with the Spider-Man.
He can go block with a Gorilla and then play Spider-Man, tap it, and give that indestructible.
That way both of his reach creatures stay on the battlefield, which is incredibly important for next turn so that you could prevent Jean-Emmanuel from dealing 14 damage.
What if when the Spider-Man comes into play, you tap it with the Officer? Can he then not use its ability? Do you think that's a legal play? You cast it.
I'm thinking, does it leave you with enough blockers? But that's a great...
No, because this card says whenever enters, you may tap him. Well, but what if it's already tapped? Can you tap it again?
Yeah, that's a great call.
Yeah, Marijn didn't leave the time to your opponent to think about it. But let's see. Anyway, the player are now thinking about what's going to happen in this combat phase. Very difficult moment. There's 10 squirrel tokens alongside 3 other creatures. Marijn is thinking, okay, so you have what? 5 blockers, and I have 13 attackers. That leaves me with 8 creature passing through.
Yeah, the fact that Marijn has an extra creature with the Spider-Man, is this enough now? So he has what, 10 tokens and 3 more creatures, 13. And how many defenders does Jean-Emmanuel have? Is 4, right? 5. Oh, he has 5. There's the agent as well on the token.
So basically, he can't win now. He can't win now, but he's gonna tap 4 and make 11 people. So as long as he doesn't attack with a vigilance creature, he's not gonna die.
No, but Jean-Emmanuel can just tap the 2 reach creatures. He's gonna tap he's gonna tap the Spider-Man. Then he's gonna take whatever amount of damage that's more than enough to survive.
And then he has exactly 14.
Next turn he taps the Gorilla. And attacks for exactly 14. What a game.
Even more, because you have the shield tokens as well.
Right.
So Jean-Emmanuel actually has 16 damage next turn.
Wow, what a
But Marijn has in hand a reach creature. I saw. He has Pet Avenger. So with that 3rd reach creature, he will be able to survive. So he's now thinking, how do I do this? Because, of course, if he plays Pet Avenger, he can't activate the Squirrel Girl.
He's also thinking, do I actually attack with everything? Because if he does, he actually loses quite a bit of creatures. And he's thinking, am I going to have enough in play to threaten lethal next turn?
Yeah, this game is extremely difficult for both sides. And once again, similar to game 2, Jean-Emmanuel can steal it by flying over, jumping the ground creature and then flying over. Ooh, combat phase has been declared. And the Spider-Man gets tapped.
I can definitely see what's going through Marian's head right now. It's probably like, why is this game so complicated?
He only has 7 lands, right? He didn't draw an 8th land. Because that 8th land can unlock the Pet Avenger plus activate ability of Squirrel Girl.
He played in back. Baxter building. Yeah, he does.
So he can just
Yeah.
Oh, it's not passing. Yeah, he just attack with all. Makes sense. He's not. He's reading the card. Yeah, so I think he can just attack with all, whatever. Some damage gets through, tap 4, make 10 blockers, and then play Pet Avenger, pass. And now he has 1 chump blocker for the Wakanda drone flock, and is not dying on the swing back.
Yeah, because he's gonna make what? He's gonna make 11-ish tokens. So yeah, he's definitely not dying on the swing back. And the fact that he has a 2nd creature that can block flyers, that's what Jean-Emmanuel is not gonna like to see.
Should be 11 untapped tokens.
And the Squirrel Girl also made a token when it attacks. I think there should be...
No, he's been missing that trigger.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. He missed it a couple of times. I don't think he knows. Anyway, those tokens are untapped. Thank you. And it should be 11. But anyway, I don't think that number matters. Is a 2.
Exactly. Like
it's 9 extra.
Marijn certainly has enough to win next turn. The thing now is Jean-Emmanuel can draw something like Frozen in Ice. He can draw a Web Up. He can draw a bounce spell.
Let's see. Very important moment.
You can wait. You can.
No.
Can you wait?
Oh, yeah.
No. You can tap twice.
Yes, he wins.
You can tap twice, right?
He wins.
Oh my God! What a top deck.
Captain America is the card that Jean-Emmanuel needs to win the game here.
3 mana, 3/4 with Vigilance, and it says whenever a creature you control becomes tapped during your turn, if it's the first time that happened, you untap the creature. So you can tap your tapper, tap the reach creature, it untaps because of the Captain America trigger, then you can tap it again to tap the Gorilla, and bam, swing for everything with all the flyers, move around the equipment if you need to. What a top deck from Jean-Emmanuel. What a crazy game this has been.
He's smiling because he knows that he just topped the card for the win to win the game. He's now,
Yeah.
I mean, the play is fully topped out. There's no free cards in this format, so the game is...
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a beautiful game. I think extremely well played by Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, showing why he's the world champion, showing why he's in the ballot to be elected in the 2026 Hall of Fame. Pro Tour Hall of Fame.
Jean-Emmanuel is what, like, it seems like 18 cards deep in his deck. So there's 22 cards left. Let's say he had, I don't know, 3 or 4 outs. So he was roughly 15% to win this turn. Yeah, those odds are not the greatest. But Captain America is going to do the trick.
Yeah, so we tap the officer and tap it because Captain America Living Legends, one of the many Captain America.
Yeah. Look how he's smiling. They're just making sure now. He's probably thinking, hey guys, can you let me, can you help me count here?
No.
My opponent's tapped out.
No, I'm not. I'm not wasting my opponent, my teammates' time to resolve the situation.
This reminds me of the finals of the Pro Tour where Matt Naz was quadruple checking that, like, hey, this is the final game. I really want to make sure I'm dealing the 88 damage or whatever the required amount was.
Okay, so we're attacking here. We have, of course, 7 plus 3, 12.
And you can even use the shield wielder twice as well because of Captain America.
Why is that ground creature attacking?
It's a good question.
Before blocks, so we want to tap again. Wait, what's happening?
Did we miss something?
No, he can tap 2 mana and tap the Pet Avenger. Maybe, oh, I think if he taps 2 mana, he doesn't have lethal because he can't pay 2 to pump. That's what misses.
You didn't have enough?
No, because you need 2 mana to tap the 4/4.
3 mana for Captain America, and you have 4 mana left over.
Yes, he doesn't have enough.
Oh, one of them is big.
That's 12 damage.
Wow, so he's 1 mana short?
Oh my god, we forgot that the officer needs 2 mana to tap the Pet
Oh my
Avenger.
god, that's why we had the mana short on the card viewer.
Yes.
I think Simon or Felipe were trying to tell us that he's 1 mana short. I thought he meant Marijn stepped out. That's crazy. So, okay, what happened was we got excited. We thought it adds up. There was enough mana to do that. But as it turns out, Jean-Emmanuel was 1 mana short of being...
And that's why... wow.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
This was the craziest game. Look at how happy he is. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, congratulations to Marijn. Commiseration to Jean-Emmanuel. Also, apologies from us. We got really excited thinking Jean-Emmanuel has that cover because he also had his hands on the lands and everything.
Yeah, turns out that he was smiling, but because of how close he was to win.
Wow.
He thought he top decked maybe for a moment. We thought he top decked for a while, and then it turns out that he didn't. So the first match goes to the Marijn Lybaert plus Zakil and the Croatian player team. They are up a game, and we will show you some more of that match because, again, this is team event, so we need 2 wins, 2 match wins out of 3. So the game is not over. The French team can still win, and Jean-Emmanuel will have to rely on his teammates to bring the match home. We've seen before Javier Dominguez losing and his teammates, Marcio Carvalho and Luis Salvato, bringing the team home. So, there's still a chance. This is why team events are beautiful, because you can lose the game, your match, and still win the round.
Who's on your fantasy draft team?
Well, my first pick was Christian Calcano, Marco Del Pivo, and Li Shitian. We actually done a team sealed yesterday in my house in Italy because Shitian and Pivo were over there. And so that's my first pick. But what about yours?
So I picked Shuhei's team. Shuhei's here with 2 of his Japanese friends. I forgot the names, I'm sorry. Shuhei, one of the best limited players of all time. You can give him any deck and he's going to go 7-2 or better. You can basically give him whatever scraps you have. He's still going to build a good deck from it. He's going to use his Hall of Fame caliber gameplay, and he's going to always deliver. So I just instantly picked Shuhei the second I saw his name there. And then I have a Czech team on my team as well, and that's a team of Hanzalik, Molly, and one of the best online players, Lenny. Dominic Prošek. But hey, we're live with game number 2, and that's Grgur Petric Maretic from Croatia playing against Thomas Mechin on Jean-Emmanuel's team.
Yeah, and you can see the screen in the middle right there that tells you that this is the final match,
Okay.
the deciding match, and it is game number 3. So whoever wins this game advances to 2-0. So very high stake. Both players started with the same color of lands, so a lot slower start than the previous round.
Yeah, this looks like both players are just going to spend their second turn cycling to get their second colors of mana. But this is why this format is so good. There's so many ways to smooth out your draws and make sure you have all of your colors. But wow, that's not the case for Grgur. 3 planes there,
But thankfully, Thomas doesn't really punish him. He just spends his first turn to cycle, second turn to draw some cards. So Maretic has some time to draw that mountain. But he does have a nice turn 4 play, which can fill the board even though there was nothing in the first turns. And it's kind of how limited it is sometimes. You just have to keep that monocolor hand, hoping to draw the missing land, the missing color. Thomas has a third color in his hand. That's the crew.
okay, that's the White Tiger. That's the 2-mana 2/2. It has a power-up ability. For 6, you can add a counter on it and create a 4/4 token that can only be blocked by 1 creature. There is a second color, right? So Mountain for Grgur. And he has Okoye, which is a 4-mana 3/2. It comes into play with 2 1/1 tokens. That's typically really good if you have something like Political Triumph in your deck or something else that buffs your entire board. There's the 2-mana Saga in this format. First chapter, you scry 2. You can draw a card and then buff everything with the 3rd chapter, for example. But back to Thomas, what does he have?
He on 4 mana, he just had a 2-drop. I think he has one of the best card in the set, which happens to be an uncommon.
Yep.
Khazar.
Khazar comes down with a 2/2 legendary token, and basically it has the Courser of Krufix effect, which means that you can look at the top card of your library when you have it in play, and you can play lands from the top of your library. Anytime a land comes onto your battlefield, the cat token gets a +1/+1 counter.
At least they're not getting a life, but yeah. The Course of Krufix, definitely one of my favorite cards back from the Theros set.
Is it in your cube? Or is it?
It is in my cube. It is in my cube. Well, the lands archetype is supported. We have a lot of Born of the Gods, actually, a lot of the lands synergies, and Khazur can definitely feel that way. Actually, I had a combo with the Khazur with the Crucible of Worlds creature, the 3-mana 1/1 that you can play land from the graveyard.
With the Moleman?
Yes.
Yep.
And then you have the land that connives, and you can just connive, discard a land, play land from the graveyard, make a token, pump your thing. It was very, very cool, Moleman. So Khazur is an amazing card and definitely can make these green decks do crazy stuff.
I want to talk about one card that Grgur has in his hand, and I believe that's the Sentry. The Sentry is the 4-mana 5/5 flyer. It has a bunch of abilities, but one of them is a downside. It says your opponent gets a 5/5 flying indestructible token that has to attack every turn, and your 5/5 has vigilance in addition to all these abilities. And green in this format, not very good at dealing with an indestructible creature. Typically you have something like each player sacrifices a flying creature or something like that you can bring in after sideboard. But in this format, there is only Cruel Alliance that Thomas can really have to deal with this. Otherwise, this card will be able to basically solo you if it comes down early. And then you can just keep attacking for 5 in the air, and your opponent's 5/5 token is just going to be attacking into the Sentry every single turn.
So would you say that the Sentry is a sideboard card?
Yeah, it's not good against blue or white, and I would expect 2 of the 3 decks in this team sealed format to be either blue or white. So I wouldn't play it as a main deck card typically, but as a sideboard card, it can completely destroy a red-green deck or some kind of Jaunt Colors combination deck where you're just not going to have an answer for it.
Yeah, we see one of the interaction that we saw already in this round. She-Hulk destroying a web up. This is incredible tempo play and just card advantage. Just now you have a 5/5 and the White Tiger, which is going to unlock that 4/4 later on.
I can tell you Grgur is very likely thinking, hey, maybe I've seen, one Cruel Alliance from my opponent in the first game. Should I just slam the Sentry and hope that they don't have the 1 exile spell they might have? Should I try to, live a little bit longer, maybe throw something else on the battlefield, but like, is playing a 3-2 here gonna really do anything? That's not gonna really challenge the She-Hulk. So yeah, he goes for the sentry here, crosses his fingers and says, hey, please don't have Cruel Alliance, because if you have Hour of Defeat, or if you have any of the fight spells, you're not gonna be able to deal with the 5/5.
Thomas quickly put a black card to the front. And
1,
taps
2, 3.
mana.
Oh yeah, that's gonna. Oh yeah, that's Cruel. Wow, there it is. That's the blowout. So that's the downside, you know. High risk, high reward. If the sentry comes down, they don't have the removal spell, then you might as well just easily win the game with that. If they do have the Cruel Alliance, you just gave them a 5/5 flying indestructible token. And now trample. So
Grgur can now with the Hellcarrier removal spell can kill that She-Hulk here.
Wow, and interesting, he blocks with both and then uses the Helicarrier strike to deal 4 to it.
Playing around the removal spell.
Okay.
Because you have to play the removal spell before damage. Because otherwise, you know, if damage happens, you don't have the creature to teamwork anymore.
Okay.
Playing around like an Hour Defeat or -2/-2 effect.
There's the undercover scroll, and I believe Grgur has actually blue cards in his hand, so he's missing another color. I think I saw a Vision Quest, and I think there was another blue card.
Very similar deck to the one from Jean-Emmanuel Depraz.
Okay, 4 mana 3/2 prowess comes with an extra card. Basically, it lets you reveal the top card or exile the top card from top of your library, and you can play that card until the end of your next turn. Pretty decent value card, not the greatest. It's unfortunately probably the red's 3rd best card in this format, which that kind of tells you why red is maybe a little bit lacking. If you look at white, there's so many good cards that you're happy to have in your deck that compared to red, yeah, you can see the difference.
Martin, so you saw the sentry was like, as you said, high risk, high reward card. Yep. In this case, it did not go well.
Yeah.
Would you say that the fail Ks are so high that I'd rather not even put that card in my deck ever because the fail Ks are so high?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said when I meant with blue and like I'm not gonna play it in a team sealed event. I expect 2 out of my 3 possible opponents in that round to have answers, to have multiple answers in their main deck. So they're gonna have Justice, they're gonna have Web Up, they're gonna have Frozen in Ice. You know, there's a lot of cards like that. I'm gonna bring it in if I see a deck made of the Junt colors. Especially if I haven't seen a removal spell from my opponent. So it's very likely Grgur possibly saw Thomas not have a Cruel Alliance and yeah, unfortunately had it. Congratulations to Thomas. That sentry being exiled by Cruel Alliance was just such a big blowout, such a huge tempo swing. Your opponent essentially spent their entire turn giving you a 5/5 indestructible flyer, and then you just tapped 3 mana, dealt with their creature, and they took 10 damage or so. So yeah, that, you know, high risk, high reward.
Yes, indeed.